Grace and peace to you from the triune God. I invite you to a time of prayer. Wonderful God who creates all things, redeems all things, and renews all things. Fill this space. Take away what is beyond the point. May your word be heard. Amen. It's the morning of little Susie's birthday. Little Susie is 4 today, and her parents decided now is the time for her to get her very own bike. They picked it out especially for her. Purple with white and pink trim. It's got a little basket up front for her favorite doll to ride around with her. And of course, the training wheels to help her guide her on her way until they can come off. You might almost say that her parents were just as excited about her getting her bike as she was probably going to be looking at it. Well, the party came, and the bike was the last thing to get revealed. There it is. It's a big old box. Really big box. She walks up. She opens up the box. There it is. She looks at the bike. She turns and she looks at her parents. She looks back at the bike. She turns and looks at her parents. Go on. It's yours, her mother gently tells her. She runs over, pulls the bike out, and looks at it. She looks up at her parents and immediately starts to giggle as she runs into the box and pulls the door closed. In that box was a world that she had all to herself. This morning, we heard 3 readings that all have to do something about making things new. Our gospel text this morning comes right after Jesus has washed the disciples' feet. And he's told them, once again, that he's going to die. They didn't believe him, as always. And then he says, the Father and I are in glory with one another. He glorifies me, I glorify him. Now, as part of that, I have a new commandment for you. That you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are to love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. That is not an easy task for anybody to love one another, especially when you consider the world we live in, or even the word love that's used here. The Greek word that gets translated as love is agape. Selfless, self-sacrificing, unbounded love. It's the love that Jesus proclaimed that this is why God sent me to the world in John 3:16. That's the agape love. While still giggling in her box, Susie's parents felt immense love for her. And while Susie was off in her own little world, her parents still loved her and wanted her to know that there is more outside of her box. Now, we all know that agape is not easy. And so do the disciples. In our second reading from Acts, Luke tells us that Peter is addressing the council of all the believers in Jerusalem. The disciples are now spread out. So people are in Jerusalem. They're hanging out. They want to know why he has invited in Gentiles into the faith, particularly uncircumcised Gentiles. Why did they get in? They're not supposed to get in. They weren't with us, with Jesus. They didn't even know about Jesus. Sure, Cornelius was a cool guy, did a lot. He feared God, but being a centurion in the Roman Empire, he couldn't quite make the cut, if the pun goes, to being a Jew. He just wouldn't go that far. It tested him too much for his job. Now, the disciples were just trying to find out what it meant to love one another, so long as it meant not going outside of their box. And Peter was with them on that. In his vision, he said, "No, Lord, nothing unclean has ever touched my lips." When the messengers came, he said, you know that it's unlawful for me to associate with a Gentile. I'm not supposed to enter their house, let alone dine with them. But Peter baptized them because God showed him what was on the outside of his box. God showed him a bigger, broader understanding of new and love one another. God agape them all, Jew and Gentile, but it's still not easy for us to do. We all have our moments when that agape is hard. It might be when we want to embrace stereotypes that so those people. Or when we're afraid of things that are new. They're not like us. Something's different. Or maybe it's holding a grudge against somebody for so long that you can't even remember why you disliked them. Peter had to be invited out of his box by God. And so he was. Susie didn't want to get out of her box. It was comfortable. Why not? It's her world. Her doll is with her. I'd stay in that box. But her parents' love, that agape, peeled back the doors of the box, reminded her of the purple bike with the pink and white trim, the basket on front for her doll to ride in, and the adventures for something new. But God still loved Peter, even when he wanted to stay in his box. God loved the Gentiles, and God still agapes us. Even when we hold our grudges, are afraid of things that are new, or believe and embrace stereotypes. God agapes us so much that he became enfleshed here on this world. He agapes us so much that he carried it upon the cross. God agapes us so much that he died and rose again. John baptized with water, but I will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. In our baptisms, we are sealed, anointed with the Holy Spirit. At the table, we remember Christ's passion. We celebrate it. It renews us for going outside of our boxes to ride our purple little bikes. Where's your bike that you want to ride this week? What kind of love can you share with others in the world? Love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. Amen.